It was about a year ago when I was sitting on my couch watching some news, and I had been watching different channels, TV shows, news, and I kept seeing this person called Al. And I'm like, who is Al? So one day, my 20-something daughter was home, and I said to her, who is Al? I keep seeing this person all over TV. Is this somebody trending? And she thought I was joking. She thought that was hilarious. And I was like, what are you doing? Why are you laughing at me? And she says, you're serious. And I said, yes, I don't know who Al is, but it's everywhere. It's on the news. They're talking about it all the time now, and I don't know who he is. She said, Mom, it's not a person. It's AI. I'm like, AI? Well, the initials look like Al to me, A-L, a lowercase L. She says, no, it's AI, artificial intelligence. I had no idea what that was. I'm not that tech savvy. First of all, I was in corporate America for 6 years where I worked 60 to 80 hours a week. We didn't use AI in my job. So I wasn't in tune with the world until I quit working and started watching the news more and different things on TV. It's not funny anymore. And we're just getting started with this stuff. But let me tell you what's going on in the world if you haven't already heard. Just this past week alone, I have seen so many people come forward and say things about AI and how it's hurting them. It's usually newscasts where I'm seeing it. So like, for example, I saw a woman who was arrested and put in prison because somebody tricked authorities by sending AI made up texts to make it look like they came from her phone and to make it look like she committed a crime. I personally went into my garden one day and uploaded a short about how some certain bushes and things were blossoming, and people were calling me out saying that it wasn't real, it was AI. Of course it's real. It's my yard. I was standing in the middle of my yard filming a blooming spring bush, but yet people were saying it wasn't real. I'm clearly not AI. I'm not a perfect human being. I have flaws. What I've seen in the AI videos are of things that look pretty near perfect. But these people actually thought I had made up this bush that I didn't. It's growing. I mean, that's the silliest thing to me, but yet it gets worse. Other people are saying that animal channels, for example, now I have seen some AI animal channels. I've seen these dogs that run around and they are AI, but the video says they're AI. However, people that rescue animals, they are now being accused of being fake and AI when they're not. I also just heard of a woman that went to prison in another state. I might have mentioned this before. I can't remember. They saw an image of a woman, and police in a totally different state across the country picked a woman up in her home while she was babysitting a child. And they took her across state lines, and she stayed in prison, I think, for a week or more. All because AI said she was the suspect, but she wasn't. It cost her a week in prison. It cost her a week out of her life, a week away from her house. And you can imagine if you were just taken out of your home because AI said you did something. Imagine the chaos and eruption that would cause in your daily life or your home. Or what if you had pets? What if you had small kids? What if you had a job? I mean, come on now, you know? So the authorities said, well, we didn't have proof to the contrary. We thought it was her because the AI software said it was. That's absolutely absurd to me. You're telling me with all the advancements we have no checks and balances in place with this stuff? This AI is not checked out. This AI is allowed to ruin people's lives, put people in jail, take them away from their home, uproot them, basically kidnap them. That's where we're at here. Most recently, I saw a video on the news where a realtor was sounding the alarm because her competitor realtors, okay, are using AI to generate staged real estate photos. Now, the problem with that is, I remember years ago, you would stage your house. You would bring in a couple pieces of nice furniture and put the rest of your stuff in storage. The old time realtors, I don't know if people do this still today, but I remember the old time realtors used to say, you want to make your house not lived in. You don't want pictures of your family on the wall. You don't want your personal belongings hanging draped over the side of the couch. I have seen on Zillow where people stage their house and they leave a mess in the living room, or they leave personal effects in the living room or the kitchen or the bathroom. Sometimes the houses look completely lived in a complete mess. All the stuff is there and whatever. So I don't know if realtors still do this anymore with the staging thing. I do, however, know it used to be a thing. And they would tell you to make everything as clean as possible, have minimal stuff around. Don't have all your personal stuff around. But now realtors don't even need to do that, because they can take your rooms and they can use AI to erase whatever personal effects and then just put in their own staging through a picture, through a photo. I mean, I'm sure you have heard that AI can replace jobs. Well, there you go. There's one job right there. The professional stager whose job it is to stage these real estate houses for sales. That's another job probably on the chopping block after this, because now realtors just with the click of a button can show a house in any way they want. Oh, they want to change the look of the carpet? Hey, AI, put down a brown carpet instead of a blue one. There are so many people and jobs that are going to be hurt by this. I've pretty much been a crafter my entire life. As you see, I sit in front of a craft cabinet here as my backdrop. I do have a little mini YouTube studio I created in a closet, but it's too hot for me to go in there right now. That one room doesn't have any airflow, so I've been sitting here. But this is a calming space for me. This helps me relax. I can craft at my leisure. It's a hobby for me. I don't have a job crafting. I do it for fun. I do it to reset my mind, reset my thoughts, get my day more productive. What any hobbyist does. And what a lot of crafters do. What artists do. However, what does the future hold for people when all they need is a click of a button to do anything they want? Oh, change this room. Make it a different color. There's no thought process. There's no creativity anymore. Now AI can do that for you. Where are we going to be in even 5 years? Never mind 10 or 20. But where are we going to be in 5 years when nobody is creative anymore? It's all gone by the wayside. We don't need crafters. We don't need anybody creative because now we have AI. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the malls closing and the stores closing. I remember when the last store closed here. I mean, we have a TJ Maxx and a Kohl's, but I'm talking about the regular hometown stores that we still had from the 80s. The last store closed. And I remember reading in the paper, because the paper was still published then, which it isn't here now. It's all online. And somebody said, just think about where your child is going to get their first job now, because stores are gone. How are they going to get their first teenage job? This is what AI reminds me of. It reminds me of that time when, and I'm not blaming Walmart, I'm just saying, Walmart came into town. All the mom and pops closed up. Walmart had the cheapest prices. People had to choose. Do I want to pay more and to support the friendly neighbor mom and pop shop? Or do I need savings on some toilet paper because I have kids to feed? So they shopped at Walmart to the detriment of the mom and pop shops who just couldn't compete with the prices. And this last store in town that closed was no different. They weren't a mom and pop shop. They were actually a big time store in their heyday. But now, because of Walmart, Amazon, online shopping, and all of that, we have no mall. The last remaining store closed. And sure enough, it is hard for not just high school students, but anyone to get work around here. A lot of people use the internet. They turn to places like Etsy. They sell their handmade goods. They craft things to sell to support their livelihoods or to feed their families, or maybe as a secondary income to go on a vacation. And without creativity in the world, what is the world going to look like? It's going to look pretty bleak, in my opinion, with no creativity. Now, I might be over dramatizing everything right now, and you might be saying, well, that's never going to happen. What are you going on about? Or you might just say, that's a bunch of hooey for nothing. You're just making drama. You're just, sounding an alarm. But when realtors are sounding the alarm because they can't compete anymore, because other realtors, their competitors, are staging houses with fake carpets, fake wall paint, fake furniture. So the realtors who aren't doing that can't compete. So there's another career down the drain. Let's go further. What about interior decorators? What about house designers? So now we actually have an interior design center here locally. I've never used it personally because I am creative, so I can do my own interior decorating, but a lot of people use her. Now, she is expensive. We have several of them. I shouldn't say just one, but she's the closest where I live. So I'm just going to say this particular one, okay? Everybody I've ever come across or every review I've read, they love this lady, right? But she's expensive. A good interior decorator or an actual house designer, somebody that goes above and beyond just designing like where to put the couch and window treatments, an actual house designer, meaning like the people that come in and design your kitchen, okay? So there's a difference there. The people, either way, if AI can do that for you, why would you need them? They're expensive. I don't know what an interior decorator costs, but I know some designers charge $15,000. That's a fact. So if you're going to pay somebody $15,000 to design your kitchen, but AI can do that for free, why would you pay that person? So think about the careers that are going to go by the wayside because of AI. But then think about, why would we need any more creativity if everybody can just do it on AI? Now, AI in itself is not always correct. Today I asked it a question. I can't remember the question, but I remember the answer. I asked AI a question. I think it was about my health or what I was eating or something like that. And it gave me a double answer. I asked, is this healthy for me? And the answer was no, but, and then it went on to tell me how great that would be for me. So it gave me a double-ended answer. It's not healthy, but it's great for you. It can't be both ways. I have an elderly aunt who paints. She's a painter. She does it for relaxation. She is a widow. She lost her spouse 2 years ago. So with her life, she goes to the store, or she goes on Amazon, or maybe Walmart. She buys her craft supplies and she sits in her home and paints. What's going to happen when AI takes over and we don't have creativity? We're going to lose those craft stores. We're going to lose that ability to buy our craft supplies in person and possibly online, because nobody's going to want to do it anymore, because everybody's going to have it at their fingertips on their phone. They're not going to need the Etsy seller who sells a greeting card, because they can just pop in a statement on AI like, hey, make a greeting card for my aunt, and boom, they can mail it to her or email it to her. They could print it out or email it. And that's another thing too. People of the older generations love getting mail. They still use a paper envelope and a stamp. But with the price of postage, not many people as much send out greeting cards at Christmas and other holidays. I've seen it myself. I'll get emails now instead of an actual card in the mail because it's free. Now, of course, AI can't generate a painting, that somebody does on an easel or an art pad or canvas. But could that be next? Could AI be advancing so rapidly, maybe it already is. I don't know. You can think it and then it can be done. You don't even have to do it. I still use paper and pen. I love the feeling of a pen in my fingers and a piece of paper at my fingertips. It's how I get things done. It's how I stay organized. But the new generations, not so much. They've learned on electronics pretty much their whole lives. My kids missed that. There's a line there. My kids are in their 20s and they missed that part where it went from paper to computer only. So they still write on a whiteboard to make a grocery list, for example, or they still have a calendar that they write notes on, or I have a calendar program on my phone. I also have an agenda book. I also have a goal book. I'm definitely a paper and pen person. But even when my kids were in school, in high school, they were saying then that kids today don't even need to learn how to write because even job applications are all online. All they need to know is how to use a computer. If we don't even know how to write, and if schools stop teaching that, I'm not saying they're going to or that's even on their agenda, I'm just saying hypothetically, what will the world look like? No creativity, no true art, no imagination, just talking to your phone, telling it what you want. We're going to be living like the Jetsons. Remember that cartoon from the 80s? Now, when I was a kid, I watched the Jetsons and I thought it was cool, but listen. It's one thing to have a robot maid to get your drink when you say, I want a drink, and it pops out of the fridge and the maid gets it and brings it over to you. Like you're living in a Wall-E world. But it's a whole different ball game when this is real. It's not just the matter of asking your refrigerator to make your favorite drink. On a hot day, that sounds refreshing. But it doesn't sound refreshing to me that this is the way the world is going. It doesn't sound refreshing to me that people can't tell the difference now between a living, real plant that I show them in a short or an AI generated one. That's, to me, is obscene. Where are we going wrong in this world if people can't tell the difference anymore? And there is now truly a blurred line where we just found out about this AI. A year ago, I was calling it Al. And now here we are. It's already putting people in prison who are completely innocent. It's already able to generate fake texts that make it look like they come from your phone. It's already making advanced artist landscapes so that it knocks realtors right out of the game. I mean, if you think about it, this technology was out there for a while, though. Like, I remember wanting to redo my closet space, and I went to IKEA in person. This was before COVID. And when I got there, they had a program where you could lay out your whole room and see it in 3D. But this is a whole new ball game. That program didn't put all my furniture back and place it in the room in a picture. Today, like I said, this realtor can do that and show the rooms in a different paint color, the rooms in a different couch. Now that's pretty cool if you want to buy that house so you can see it live, right? But that's not cool when they pop the photo on Zillow and say this is the house when it's not. And the reason that's not cool is because I saw that here during COVID and a little after COVID. People were not even coming to look at the houses. They bought them. They saw them and bought them. For a while, there were these bidding wars. You couldn't touch a house around here. 10, 15 people were bidding on the same house. I have friends that lost out on bidding wars to many houses. So the building boom ramped up. Builders went nuts buying up any space of land that was available and started building houses at the cost of $500,000, $600,000 to start for a 2-story ranch. Those used to be $140,000 because nobody could get a used house because everybody was coming out of state, not even touring the house, just buying it the moment they saw it online. Now, we could go into the many reasons why AI could be useful. Medical reasons, things like that. But what I'm seeing is dangerous times ahead. I'm not trying to sound the alarm. I'm just saying be prepared for it, be cautious about it, observe, and watch what's going out there in the world. Because it's real and it's happening. I think there are going to be a lot of things that we're accustomed to today that are going to just disappear. One of the things I do think may disappear, and I say this as a crafter, more craft stores are going to be closing. More crafts are going to just be out of style, outdated. Nobody's going to want them. I have heard many jobs are going to disappear. There's many people with degrees in these fields are going to be at a loss of not knowing what to do. Fields that they've loved and worked in. Creative fields like the design fields. People are going to lose their livelihood to scams. We see it every single time we open the internet. And I try not to play into that too much. But the fact is, it is out there. I can't close my eyes to it. It's happening. But my final thoughts about this are, once it overreaches unique creativity that comes from our human spirit and our human soul, that's where I take personal offense. What are we but uniquely created of our own kind? Thanks so much for watching today. Take care.